out to Be Me Jazz. My name is Ace. I will be your pilot for the rest of the evening. This is something special that we decided to do. But before we get started, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Be Me, and I'm going to need the help of Isis. Come on up. Give it up for Isis, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen are a part of Be Me. But Be Me is a network of community builders working together collectively to transform the narrative of how African American black males are portrayed in the media, and to uplift the positive stories and let everyone know that black males are assets in our community. And it's that's basically why I joined, and that's what it is.
So that's Isis. She's been down since we started this about a year ago. Called me. I was in South Beach. Yes, I was in South Beach, and ended up coming in. And when she came in, she actually called me and said she wanted to be in, coach. She said, put me in, coach. So we put her in, and she's been rocking with us ever since, right? So what this thing is this is for recording purposes. We want to be able to do this every month so people can actually come out and see it live, but more importantly, we'll be able to share this stuff on the internet, okay? Right, okay, so what I want you guys to do is get out your phones, get your cell phones out. Y'all got your cell phones out? All right. Be Me is a community build, a network of community builders inspired by black men. So we want you to text Akron to 96000. 96,000.
96,000.
Text Akron to 96,000. That's 963 zeros for those of you who are number challenged. So it should have 96,000 up there, and then you text in Akron to it. Tell me what happens when you do it. Did something happen? You just say welcome?
Yeah.
You, yeah, put your name, and it's going to ask you your email address. You just joined our network. Just that easy. Right? So, again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to be the author of our own stories. This is what this evening is about. We have my man Roger Riddle finally made it to the sack.
What's up?
And he's over there feeding and giving those turntables, man. Y'all know him from spinning everywhere. He was spinning the other night, man. So we got him to speak tonight. Did everybody join? Did it work for everybody?
Yeah.
No? Did it work for you?
I can't do it.
You can't do it?
I can't do it I can't text to those.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It didn't work for me though.
It did?
No, but I'm part of the network.
Oh, that's probably why. If you're already in, it's not going to work. All right. So, it shouldn't have worked for you then. Right. Because you're already down. All right. So, again, what we're going to do is, everybody got 10 minutes. When I call these people, I said, I want people to talk about something that's either they're passionate about, anything that makes you you. We want to know, it could be why you live in Akron. It could be your favorite album, something special. It don't make a difference. We're going to do this once a month, every first Thursday. You guys are the first people. We have a nice intro and all of that good stuff, and people are going to see it. And then next month, we want to come back and listen to other people, okay? All right? So this is how we're going to start it. In Be Me, our universal was called, if I say be who, you say be me. All right? All right? Y'all ready? We'll try it, okay? Be who?
Be me.
Be who?
Be me.
All right, coming to the mic right now. Her name is Dorita Davis, straight from the womb. She runs the Stop the Violence movement here in Akron. And her birthday's coming up on the 30th. She's gonna be banging. She's leaving the country after that. And she also works with OCC, or is it OOC? OOC. And she works over at the Moon with my homeboy, Demario Cooper. Give it up for Dorita Davis.
Cool. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I'll just take the mic.
She's having to take it.
Thank you for having me. When you asked me to do this, I really didn't think too hard about what you wanted me to say, what I should say. But I do want to say that I'm gonna go with the first thing about what makes me, or who I am, or what makes you, you. And definitely my family, my mother and my father, who have both transitioned on to another place, and without them, I wouldn't be here. So I definitely would have to say they make me who I am because they gave me life. And the work that I do in the community is really, I do this work because of how I was brought up. My mother, she was an advocate for women who have been, brutalized in their homes. So she was an advocate for domestic violence, and she always would come home and talk about these women who had been brutalized and who had been beaten, and she had to look at pictures and take pictures of these women. And I had to be probably like 4 or 5 years old at the time. And she would tell us these stories, and I just was like, I would never become a victim. Like, I made a promise to her, myself, that I would never become a victim. And when I started doing this work in my community, and I'm seeing that my community was being victimized when it comes to violence, when it comes to sexual violence, assault, trauma, just in general, just being victims of something. And I said I had to do something about it. I wanted to step up and do something about it. So what I did was, I joined an organization that was about changing or being the change that they wanted to see in the community. It was like, I can no longer sit and stand in the silence and allow this to go on. And so when a young boy was gunned down in my neighborhood, it made me very, very concerned about what was going on. And the young man looked like my son. He was, he was the same age, walked the same streets. And I'm like, this kind of stuff doesn't happen in my community. And what am I going to do about it? A lot of people look up to me as a leader. They look up to me as someone who has a voice. And so I believe that's what my mother gave me, like the gift of discernment. I know right from wrong. I know what's right, and I know what's wrong. And I really appreciate that, her allowing me to be free and not standing for anything. So when I seen this happening, and I learned that this man was trying to rob this young boy, something was definitely wrong. It was like, this is a sickness. How can a grown man actually want, really set himself up to rob someone else? And so I started talking to different people in my community and wanting to find out what's going on, really assessing the situation, and found out that violence and economics was definitely directly connected. People were doing these things because they didn't have jobs, they didn't have a choice. And so I feel like this city is so wealthy. We have so much to give and so much to offer. And if I can be that vessel in the community to bring folks together, to be a voice of change and hope, give people opportunity, create opportunity for other folks, create jobs, and all the things that we want to do in order to bring life into this community, and really changing what that means to us, changing what safety looks like, changing what it is to be accountable in your own communities. And so I am accountable not to allow my community to suffer at the hands of violence and not do anything about it. I am accountable because I made a promise to myself that I wouldn't become a victim, so I'm not, and I made a promise to my mother and my family that I wouldn't become a victim. So I want to make sure that other folks around me are not victims, and if they are, can we find ways to help and heal them collectively together? So that is who I am. That is who I when I wake up in the morning, those are the things that I do. I'm happy that I'm able to help, but I'm also just grateful that I have the strength to take on what's out there, because it's heavy, and it's heavy every day. I mean, I'm directly organizing crime survivors, victims, families, kids, mothers, people who have been touched by violence directly. So it's so heavy, and I don't know half the time how I even do it. But I know that I have people who are looking down on me and making sure that I have the strength. And so I do this for my mom and my dad, because they're not here. And I know that they would be proud of me, of the stuff that I'm doing in this community. So thank you for allowing me to just share who I am with you, and just please just continue to support me and lift me up, and come and check out some of the nice and fabulous things that we're doing to change things in Akron at the Womb, 915 East Market. Thank you.
Give it up for the leader. So that's what we're talking about. We get an opportunity to bring people in that everyone knows, and we get to see a side that we don't get to normally see. So I appreciate you for being transparent like that. I had no clue that that's why you knew what it is you do. Did anybody know that? Who knows her? Who knows her? Anybody know? I know her.
I do.
You know? But did you know that?
Yes.
Now you know it deeper. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to continue to keep that going every first Thursday, okay? So, listen, this guy, I've been knowing since back when Run DMC was ruling it, and LL Cool J was the bomb. In fact, we thought it was LL Cool J. We're going to keep that between us. This guy, man, is a guy, he's one of our Be Me leaders. He won the Be Me Leadership Award this year. $10,000 for the stuff that he's already doing. And what we do is with Be Me, we do a call for stories where we're actually looking for African American men that are doing more than their fair share. And then we probably got close to 100 applicants. Everybody was deserving, but only 4 won. And here's one of them. He does a good work with addiction here in Summit County. I believe he has the oldest addiction facility in the city. I hope I said that right. Probably didn't, but I'm just going. We're talking about it. We're talking about it. If not, he's just the oldest guy who's doing it in the city. How about that? Give it up for Teddy Wilson.
Good evening, family.
Good evening.
When I first got asked to do this, I'm like, okay, off the hip, from the rip, what am I going to talk about? I'm glad you gave me some key points, Ace, and everybody out there. You really opened up the doorway for a lot of things. I'm going to try to disclose my story in a general way that you guys can see what it was like for me, what happened, and what it's like now, if that makes sense. So basically, born and raised right here in Akron, Ohio, loved it, okay? On the west side, moved around a lot. I am biracial. Grew up in one of those families where, I've got older Caucasian siblings and I've got, black siblings, and I was in the middle. Caused its own little bit of problems. Pops was that dope dealer, okay? Worked hard, tried to support us, left at a really early age. I got caught up in some of those things that was happening in the 70s. The person that helped me with my vocabulary the most was Richard Pryor and Red Fox, because we used to have a lot of record parties back then, okay? So I learned at a very early age what to say. Was it appropriate? Yeah, around my house. Did it help me later on in life? Sometimes, right? But how I got to be where I am right now, during those record parties and stuff like that, I was that kid that they would wake up to come downstairs and, kind of help pass the joint from one side of the room to the other, mix liquor, help my uncles over in the corner that were giving tattoos to my older cousins and stuff. Got my first tattoo at age 6, my first drink at age 6. Grandma was actually the one that gave me my tattoo, believe it or not. Just a little idea of what my life was like and how I grew up at the time. So Before the age of 18, I knew what it was like to have to buy diapers for a child that I fathered, okay? I knew what the inside of an adult correctional facility looked like. These are some of the things that I went through. By the time I was 25, I had 3 prison numbers, and I was done. I sat on the edge of my bed, took this pistol that I used to use to get my way out there in the streets, and I turned it on my own mother. Because you see, I was trying to change my life. I had been exposed to some people that were outside of the bubble that I had created around myself, the world that I was in. Growing up right here in the projects, right over here off of East Thornton Street, or West Thornton Street, Southsider for life, all right? Even though we moved around a lot, that's what I claimed. And everything that was associated with that lifestyle and stuff, the gangbanging, the tattoos, the prison, the same 40 ounces, the same stoops that folks are still hanging on out today, my black brothers and sisters, okay? I wanted to change. So I managed to get this job, and I asked my mom to start holding on to my paychecks. But by this time, I had a drug addiction, and an alcohol addiction, and a lifestyle addiction to everything that was associated around that. It was normal to me for a long time, but it didn't feel right. See, I was that kid that when he laid his head down at night would cry because I had to use his hands on somebody. I was that kid that cried at night because I had to cuss somebody out, or I had to rob to be able to provide for my son. I had a wife, okay? We weren't married, she was my wife. We had kids. I had to make a change. Even though we were separated, I found myself knocking on my mother's door after binging off of drugs and alcohol, crack cocaine, from Friday morning, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Sunday morning. Banging on her door, Mom, let me in. No, baby, you sick. You need to go get some help. She loved me, she sacrificed, but she opened the door anyway. She faced this demon that she had no idea was gonna come from her son. And when she opened up the door, I immediately demanded the money. While she was crying, on her knees, begging, pleading to God, not for her own life, but for mine, I decided to take that pistol and use it the same way I did out in the streets to get my way. Bam! Squeeze the trigger, hit her upside the head. To this day, I still don't know what resonates more in my heart and my mind. The sound of that pistol going off, or the sound that it made when it connected with the left side of her head. After I started to come down, and after ransacking her apartment looking for her stash of my money because I wasn't done, I found myself sitting on the edge of the bed with that same pistol in my mouth. I squeezed the trigger. At that very moment, God, whatever your belief is, sent an angel in that room, the most unlikely of angels. It was my older sister. Remember I told you I grew up in that household that had white brothers and sisters, and black brothers and sisters? Well, my older sister, 1 year, who was Caucasian, who had never wanted anything to do with me, all throughout high school, listening to her tell racial jokes in the hallway, okay? We never spoke in our own home. She walked in and she put her hand out and she grabbed that gun and she said, Pooh, don't. Right as the hammer was falling. Yeah, that's when they named Pooh. Pooh. And to this day, she has a slight handicap for where the hammer fell down on the tendon. She said, we can get you some help. Within 3 hours, I was on a plane from Akron, Ohio to Orange County, California, the first time I had ever been out of the city. Scared, confused, I did a 21-day inpatient service at Orange County Hospital, Orange County Community Hospital, where I learned a little bit about myself. See, I had been through those treatment modalities before. They didn't work. I was still using, I was still drinking drugs, I was still running and gunning. But for some reason, something was different. Was it the fact that I had just done something horrible to my own mother that I didn't want to live with? Or my eyes finally opened? I don't know. But something stuck. And after I did that 21-day, I was afforded this opportunity to go stay in what they call a sober house. I showed up at this sober house, and at that sober house, I met a man, okay? Again, the most unlikely people. He was about this tall, about this wide, cock diesel, 15 years out of his 30 in correctional institutions. Big swastika on his chest. Bald, got his lion, his animal tap, for those of you that don't know about the Aryan Brotherhood, okay? He was one of them. He took me under his wing and he said, you know what, young man? What is it that you want to do with your life? Of course, I peeled off those canned answers that everybody wants to hear. You know what? I want to get my life together. I want to stop drinking. I want to get my, I want to get a good job. I want to get a nice house. All those things. He's like, no. What is it that you really want? I said, I want my wife and kids back. He said, how willing, or what are you willing to do to make that happen? I said, anything. That's how broken I was. Because see, nobody knew what I thought about when I laid my head down at night. Remember that kid that was crying? He still kept crying as a grown man. You know? He wanted, what he loved more than anything. That relationship. So here it is. This kid from the PJs, way back 3,000 miles away from home. The first words out of his mouth, okay, that's what you want, I'm gonna show you how to get it. Lo and behold, that was his goal when he decided to enter into recovery. Not abstinence, not sobriety, but recovery. There's a difference. So he said, the first thing I want you to do is, and please y'all help me on time, okay? The first thing I want y'all to do, or I want you to do, is not have any contact with anybody back east for 1 year. Man, is you crazy? I just told you what I wanted. Help me get that. He's like, no, if you really want that, you said you're willing to do anything. I thought about it for about a week. Came back to him, I said, you know what? I trust you. God had opened up my heart. At some point, I was walking down the street in Orange County, California. He said, you know what? You're going to be doing exactly what this man is doing for other people for the rest of your life. I said, yeah, right. I couldn't stand the brothers around me because it reminded me so much of me. But lo and behold, 21 years later, after making that sacrifice and everything, today I operate. I'm the founder, president, and CEO of Ohio's oldest and largest recovery community organization. We took that one-bedroom house that he had, housing 7 brothers coming straight home from the joint, from the penitentiary, and turned it into a program housing over 18,000 men and women up and down the West Coast. Okay? That is the same legacy that is here in Ohio now. Akron is home. Remember, I told you I loved it. I eventually came back, got my family. We moved out there. We was living. But God, he said, you know what? My people need you back home. Akron is where my heart is. That's why I'm out here in these streets. That's why we developed Northeastern Ohio's only recovery community center, sanctioned by the United States government, by the federal government, overseen. That's why we worked hard to not only directly but indirectly affect the thousands of people around the state. I spend the majority of my time advocating all around the state, helping legislators create bills. Okay? And I am proud to say that Akron is home. When Be Me application came up and I applied, I had no idea. But I thank God for that organization because it opened up my eyes to a lot of things. I raised men on a daily basis, but at some point I had no idea how much I needed to be raised also. When I went to the BB Unlimited event in DC, and it was officially announced that I was a Be Me Leader Award winner for 2016, I was surrounded around so many black men, okay? No posturing, no chest pulled down, equal, our brothers, we stood toe to toe, shoulder to shoulder, for hours on end, holding each other up. And it was just what I needed to catapult me to the next level of what we're doing here in Akron, Ohio. So I thank God for each and every one of you for the time, the energy, the prayers, whatever you're investing in Be Me. I want to thank my man Ace. Yeah, we've been rocking for a long time, and I appreciate you, man, for your leadership and your management. I am Be Me for life.
Ashe.
Thank you.
That's so emotional here, man. Hold on, wait a second. Okay. So listen, see what I'm saying? To have a story like that is great, you know? Doing poetry for like ever and doing poetry sets and being always asked to come out and do poems, I thought one thing only, that back in the day I used to rap, and then you rap, and if it gets too deep, it's gonna be a poem. If it gets too long, it's gonna be a movie treatment. If it gets too long and deep and fulfilled, it's gonna be a book. That's the natural progression of a writer. So to say, okay, let's do a storytelling, right? I don't want to do poetry. My homeboy Amplified is doing a poetry style. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be able to say, hey, unscripted, but if you got notes, Roger Riddle, you can bring your notes, okay? Unscripted, just shoot from the hip. We was able to hear some stuff from two people that we know. Now we know a little more. I want to give it up to this guy right here, Lateef. Give it up, Lateef. This guy here, give me a little more music, a little louder. All right, thank you. I've been knowing this guy since Kent State University, 1990, 91. We both took a black woman class. You had to be a senior to take it. Here's my little story. So you have to be a senior to take this class, right? So I'm looking down the schedule, and I'm like, the black woman. I'm taking this class. I'm taking this class. So Miss Barnes Hardy, remember her? Yeah. Went in and I said, you have to get a green card. Back in the day it was called green card to get in. I don't know what it's called now. But I went in and sat down to her and I had to have this off-the-cuff discussion with her. I said, listen, I need to be in that class. She says, looked at me like, who's this young guy here, you know? Don't even know how to study right. I'm like, listen, all I know is you got a class about the black woman. I'm the black man. I should be in that class. My mama a black woman, my sister a black woman, my girlfriend's a black woman. I need to know some stuff. That's what I'm talking about. I need to know some stuff. She looked at me, she smiled and said, yeah, okay, so you know this is a senior course. I don't care what it is. All I know is it's the black woman. I'm the black man. I'm 19. I need to know this. She says, okay, listen. I give you to week 7, and when you realize you shouldn't be in this class, I won't think nothing of it. You just silently bow out. So now my man came up like, what? What are you talking about? I'm gonna take this class. So she gave me the green card. I sat in, and the first week she says, okay, here's a book. It was a saga. You ever read that book? She gave me the book, and we had to get our textbook. She said, have this book done by Friday, ready to discuss and do a paper. You got to read like 2 chapters of this. Oh, and we're gonna put y'all in groups. I rolled my hand in that class and said, whoa, wait a minute. Do you know we got other classes? Do you know? She says, no, this is the way we roll in a senior course class. By this time, you'd have had all the other classes done, you know. And I'm like, oh, she said, do you wanna withdraw? No, not at all. I want to take this class. So let me tell you how I met this guy. I don't know if I ever told this story to him, but this is how I met him. I swear he did this. He gonna want to fight. But the teacher was saying, so did anybody read chapter 2 from such and such, such and such? And I said, you know, I'm trying to show off. I read it. So what did you think about it? Well, I believe that it's really saying that you should seize the day. She says, okay, Ace. And about like 10 minutes later, a hand will go up. And then it's like, chapter 2, I believe it was about seizing the day. I'm like, okay, I didn't say nothing about it. So then the next day, next class, she says, does anybody want to make a comment on the Asada book? I said, well, that changed my life. I tell you, I never looked at a lady like that, but now I looked at her. Like, now we're talking about cookies. And his hand went up. Back to the Asada book. It changed my life. I said, and I turned around, it was this guy. Sitting right behind me. I swear he was echoing everything I did. I said twice, 10 minutes after the fact. So I wanted to know who this guy was. So I talked to him, and we started clicking, and then he found out I could draw. And he was the DJ at Kent State. He used to do all the parties. So this was before hot cars and all that. You had to draw your flyer. So he would call me and solicit me to do flyers. And this is the first time I heard of Harry Buffalo. Y'all know what Harry Buffalo is? Yes. I didn't know. No. That's something else. Yeah, you take these big old garbage cans or something. He told me about that. I was like, why would someone tell that? Why would you take it? You're gonna take a garbage can and put all kinds of stuff in, and fruits and stuff. And he's like, yeah. You gonna do that? Years later, me and my brother ended up doing some stuff with Hank Shockney and the Bomb Squad. For those of you who know Public Enemy and stuff, it didn't work out. And then we moved to Atlanta, where we was Dallas, Austin. I didn't like that, so I moved back and started doing poetry over hip hop. And he called me. I was working at Lentines. He says, "So you the one doing all that poetry? That's you?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Man, I should invest." I'm like, "Okay, we're good." I got, now me, I didn't even really know business. Hold on. What happened was, I said, when I got the CD, they asked me for a CD and all these poetry sets. I should put a CD out. He said, "Well, cool. How much is it gonna cost you?" I said, $300. He says, "Okay." So he gave me $300. I made 100 CDs. We got a poetry set at the Arabica, and I sold every last one of them at $10,000. How much is that?
$1,000.
Right. I gave this man $300 right back. I didn't know. I didn't know how that was supposed to win. He came up. He said, "Man, this is great. You got it packed." I said, "Yeah, it's great. Hold on." Boom. Next thing I know, a UPS truck drove up to my house, dropped records off, albums off, CDs off, posters, everything, vinyl. And we've been together ever since then. And I tell you, he looked like, "Oh, he's just gonna give me $300. That ain't gonna work." So we've been all over up and down the country, doing music, poetry. He booked me now to do public speaking spots. This is my homeboy. I just wanted to tell you the story about two dudes meeting in college and still connecting and doing stuff. Right? He'll probably tell it different. He'll probably tell you I was the one fighting him. But in my mind, that's where it went. That's where it went. Coming to the mic right now, this guy here got the flyest fro in the city. The flyest beard in the city. He's a DJ. And he's also, he does the Unbox Akron. I don't know if you guys know that, but they sending out boxes with a whole bunch of Akron stuff in it. See, do y'all know about that? Who said yeah? All the cool people know. You know about it. What?
Oh my goodness. Who?
We need to start promoting. Make sure you say that first. Okay, also, he's with the Devil Strip. Man, this dude do a lot of stuff. And he's a DJ, man. He is like a real cool DJ. He's DJing with Alex Simon. I saw him doing that, man. He came down to Big Love. He was DJing some joint this weekend that I wish I was at, but you came on at 12:30. I'm 45. I was asleep.
I was in Macon too. I was in Georgia.
That was in Georgia?
Yeah.
I'll probably put the maid that one. Hey, and if you are his Facebook friend, he changes his profile pics like every other day, and it's so cool. Did you put Dolly Parton on there? When was that Dolly Parton?
Yesterday.
She was hot, and I did not know it. Dolly Parton said, "Wow." Maybe putting Mark and Mindy on there. Okay, give it up for Roger Riddle.
Good evening, everybody. So, as Ace pointed out earlier, I am going to break the rules. I brought some notes. Because I misunderstood what Ace said when he said, like, "Hey, we're going to do a storytelling night." I thought he was saying, like, The Moth. If you're familiar with the podcast The Moth, or what's the one that I like from out in Oakland? Snap Judgment. You know, if you've ever heard those stories, it's like, you know, they tell their life story, but they put it in the form of a story. They're like really storytelling. I didn't know I was supposed to come off the cuff. I became completely prepared. So I only had like a week really to get everything together. So I wasn't where I wanted to be. So I brought my notes. Forgive me, y'all. Bear with me.
All right.
Like Ace said, I work with Unbox Akron. Each month I put together a box Akron's small businesses, locally made products, music, events, art. So if you all got something, talk to me. Because I'm always looking. Who knows what I'm putting in the box next month, so I love to talk to anyone. So today, I'm going to talk about inspiration. I'm going to be a little lighthearted. I'm going to have a little fun. So inspiration, you never know where it's going to come from, right? So the scholar, Joseph Campbell, laid out an outline for what he called the hero's journey. And the hero's journey is a pattern that you can find in literature, you find it in movies, you find it in a lot of lives of people who've done great things. And it describes the journey as starting with humble beginnings, and then they're being called to adventure. And then the hero meets their mentor, and then the hero finds their allies and their enemies, and also known as the homies and the haters nowadays. You know? And then the hero faces danger and then wins a bit of magic that he's going to take home with him to set things right. And then the trip home, he's tested one more time and he has to put up a fight, and that enemy is vanquished. And then the hero returns home with the magic to change the world and save the day. And this pattern most likely fits all of the stories that you know and love. And each one of us are on a journey. Each one of us, we have our own great adventure, and we are in our own epic tale. And now, let's pretend it's 1980, and I am 5 years old. I love Sesame Street, I love cookies, I love music, and I love Star Wars. And now, for you to understand exactly how much I love Star Wars, we got to go back even a little bit more to 1977. I am 2 years old. I'm just weeks away from being 3, and I have gone to New York to visit my aunt. And my aunt takes me and my cousin to a double feature. And I see Star Wars and Grease. It's a weird combination, but it worked for me. So my aunt said I danced. Grease was first, Star Wars was next. My aunt said I danced all through Grease. And then when Star Wars came on, I fell silent. And she thought I fell asleep. I was paying close attention. See, the world of Star Wars spoke to me. From that point on, my life was all about spaceships and robots. I went back home to Detroit, and I could not stop talking about Star Wars. I asked my mom, how do you make spaceships and robots? And she told me, well, you need to learn science. And I was like, hey, that was where my journey began. I knew, or at least I thought I knew, right then and there, that I wanted to be a scientist when I grew up. So, we moved back, we're 1980 again. This 5-year-old kid is going crazy because The Empire Strikes Back is coming out. I cannot wait. All of my favorite characters are there, and there are these new characters. There's this scene where Luke Skywalker is in the swamp with Yoda, and he's supposed to be raising this X-Wing out of the water. And he says, okay, I'll try. And Yoda says, no, try not. Do or do not. There is no try. And these words stuck with me because, see, I wanted to be a Jedi. I thought I had just heard the key to being a Jedi. At that very young age, I learned my first mantra. I lived my life by these words that this little green man who lived in a swamp in a Star Wars movie said on the screen. And when I got ready to do something, I either committed to it wholeheartedly or I didn't do it at all. When I caught myself saying, okay, I'll try, I knew it meant I wasn't going to do it. I mean, we've all been there, right? When your homegirl say, hey, we having a cookout at my mom's house, you gonna come by? You be like, yeah, I'm trying to swing by. We both know I ain't coming. We gonna pretend like I might show up, but we all know the truth is I'm not actually coming by. So years go by, and the words of Yoda are still with me through all the stages of my life, through all of my career changes, and I've been a computer programmer, I've been a DJ, I've been a bartender, I work in marketing. It's still there. I moved from Detroit to Georgia to Akron, and Yoda is still there with me. And somewhere along the line, now, I first hear about Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey, and I start to look at my life, and I'm in my late 30s, and I say, you know, I've never met that mentor. I never met that person who could tell me what I needed to know to get these things done so I can come back home with the magic. And I began to say, well, maybe I'm not the hero of the story. Maybe I'm not the Jedi that I thought I was. And then one day I'm doing something, and there's the voice of Yoda again saying, do or do not. There is no try. And I say, wait a minute. I learned that from a Jedi Master. I live these words. I learned that from the Jedi Master. That was from Yoda. Maybe I am the Jedi that I thought I was. Hold on, this is my story. And you know, I am the hero of my story. My story is not done. I'm still painting the picture. I am still on my journey. And along the way, I've picked up another mantra. And living in Georgia, I've listened to some country music. There's no way around it. It's not always my thing, but I listen to a lot of music, so I'll give it a shot sometimes. And one of my friends said, hey, you want to listen to this guy named Ray Wiley Hubbard? I was like, okay. So I checked out the song. It's called Mother Blues. And at the very end of the song, Ray Wiley Hubbard says, the days I keep my gratitude higher than my expectations, well, I have really good days. My point is, you never know where the inspiration is going to come from. So be open to do new things, experience life along the way on your journey. Because now I know that when I do instead of try, and when I keep my gratitude higher than my expectation, those are the good days along this journey.
Right.
Thank you, John.
This is the SAC. The SAC